Welcome to Tips and Tricks. Today we're going to make a bootable USB flash drive installer using the brand new Mojave Mac OS X software from Apple. We've done a few tutorials of this in the past for Sierra, High Sierra, and so on. And the process is similar with Mojave, but the command has changed a little bit. So we thought it would be a good idea to do a profile on that today. So today we're doing this on a machine that is actually not on Mojave. We're doing it on a machine that is running High Sierra. It's possible to do one doing it on a machine running Sierra or on Mojave as well. It doesn't really matter because what we're going to do is download the installer, run a command, and that will complete everything. So the first thing you need to do is get a USB flash drive. And it's important to get one that's large enough in size. I believe it should be 16 gigabytes or greater. Today I'm going to be using a Kingston USB flash drive. In this case, this one is 64 gigabytes, so it should have plenty of space to do this. So the first thing to do is to insert the drive into your computer, and it will come up on the screen. Now here, the computer and the command is going to overwrite this drive, so it's basically going to erase this drive. The drive can be called anything, it doesn't really matter. In this case I'm going to change the name of it so that it's kind of consistent with the command that I'm going to show you. If you know a little bit about the command, or you can kind of navigate and understand where this name is in the command, you can modify the command on your own. But just for the sake of simplicity and to allow you to cut and paste the command from the comments section below so you don't have to type it all out, I'm going to change the name. So to change the name of this, I'll need to reformat it because of the format that it comes in. A lot of the USB keys come pre-formatted in Microsoft FAT format, and we need to change that if we want to create a new name. So I'm going to go to File and create a new Finder window. I'll go to Applications, scroll down to the bottom of your Applications folder and go to Utilities. Go to Disk Utility. Now there's a few ways to get to Disk Utility, but I'm just showing this for simplicity. And here you'll find the name of your USB key. So in this case it's a Kingston drive. I'm going to hit Erase, and I'm going to call it MacInstaller. And I'm going to change the format here to macOS Extended Journal. And we're actually going to do this again, because when we're in this format, then we can use upper and lower case. MacInstaller, capital M, capital I. So that's important just so that we have consistency in the command I'm going to show you later. I'll hit Erase and hit Show Details if we want to see the details here. I find sometimes you have to do it twice. So if you get an error, just try reformatting it again. In this case it worked fine. I'm going to quit Disk Utility. So now we have a USB key called MacInstaller. The next thing we have to do is download the software from Apple that's going to allow us to create the Mojave installer. And so we do that through the App Store. You just go to your App Store icon in the dock. Go and continue. In this case it's the first time I'd opened App Store since I did an upgrade on this machine. You'll often won't get that. Mojave should be the very first thing that you see here, especially right now, because it's the most current operating system. If there's other things being profiled here, then you'll be able to get it out of the corner here. So I'm just going to click on macOS Mojave. And then we have the option to download it. If for some reason you've already downloaded it, this will actually say open. So here we're going to hit download. And now it will take some time to download. So the speed of this download depends on your internet connection. So it could be really fast if you've got a fast connection, extremely slow if you've got a slow connection. So in this case, it's probably going to take about 20 to 30 minutes for my particular connection here. And it'll calculate here where it says calculating, it will come up with an estimate of the amount of minutes that it's going to take to download once it's downloaded a little bit of it. So rather than have you wait and watch me download this thing for 20 minutes or half an hour, I'm just going to skip ahead to the point where it's actually downloaded. So in this case, yeah, 27 minutes, so we're not going to wait that time, so see you in a second once this is downloaded. Okay, so our Mac OS Mojave installer has fully downloaded, and it's available here, so you can see the download icon has changed into the open icon. And you'll notice too that the installer will usually open by itself here as well. So it might pop up here in the front of your screen, it might not, it sort of depends on your system, but we don't really need this unless we're going to actually upgrade right now, which we're not going to. So we're just going to quit that, and we're just going to use that installer later. In fact, we can quit the App Store as well. Now really what we're going to do is use a command in the terminal to load the installer onto this USB flash drive. So we need to open up the terminal. I've got one down in my dock here, but I'll show you how to get to it. So you go and open a new Finder window, go to Applications, scroll down to the bottom to Utilities, open that up, and in there should be the terminal application. Just double click on that and it will open up. Let's bring it over here. We'll close this just to clean everything up. And we're ready to start entering our command. Now I'm going to put the whole command in the comments below so you can copy and paste it. However, if you haven't set up everything correctly, like the name of this and so on, you could get some errors. So it's important to understand exactly how the command's built up. So you might want to follow along with me as well. Now what you do is you put in the sudo command, and this is actually going to put you into a administrator mode. Now you need to know the password of your computer to do this. If you don't know your login password, you're going to get stuck here. You really need to know your login password to make this work. And we're going to call out the installer file that we just downloaded from the App Store. So it's in the Applications folder. So we just put in app and hit Tab, and it should fill that out for you. And then we're going to look actually for the installer file. So ins, and see it pops open install Mac OS Mojave app. And if we were to actually go into the Finder here and go to Applications and then go to install Mac OS Mojave app. It's really the same thing. This path means the same thing. Then we're going to actually go inside this application and get a special program out. So just type in capital C. So for contents, hit tab. Capital CON, hit tab. That should give you the rest. And then capital RES for resources. Hit tab. That'll give you the rest. And then we want to use a little program in there called createinstallmedia. So CREA and then hit tab. We should get createinstallmedia. Createinstallmedia, sorry. Then we're going to say where the actual volume is that we're going to install on, and it's going to be this one right here. So we're going to go --volume and then /vol for volumes, and then the name here, MacInstaller, is what we're looking for. So just put capital MAC, and if you've named it like mine and hit tab, it should come right up. There we go. So MAC, maybe capital I, and it should fill out the rest. Now where this sort of differs a little bit from the old commands is there was an extra command we had to put in here called application path. So if you've seen any of our old tutorials, you would have seen that, but you don't have to do that anymore. So now we only have to put in the end of the command, which is -- no interaction, which means you don't want it to ask a bunch of questions as you're going through the creation process. Ampersand, say, and then done. And then this just means when it's done, you're going to tell it to just type out on the screen done. And in fact, if you have Siri active on your computer, it'll actually speak to you saying it's done. So now we should be able to hit return, and it should ask us for a password. So this is the password for your Mac. So when you log into your Mac, this is the password that it's asking for. I'll put in my password. If you don't know your password, you're going to get stuck here, so you need to know your password. Now it's going to erase that drive. So you'll see it disappeared off the desktop here. And it's going to rename it too. It's going to give it its own name. And it'll go through. So see here it's created its own name. Install Mac OS Mojave. We can see here in the progress it's saying erasing is done. And then copying to disk. Now it's going to sit here for quite some time. I find that it usually takes anywhere between half an hour and even 45 minutes for this to complete. It's copying a 5 or 6 gigabyte file on there, so it could take a while. So you're just going to have to sit and let it go through the process. Yeah, I find it's going to sit here on 0% for quite some time, and it's only when it's really kind of near the end you're going to start to see it say 20, 30, 40, 50%, and so on. And then finally it will say done. And at that point, then you're ready to use the USB installer flash drive. So instead of making you wait to see the whole process done here, I'm just going to skip ahead to when it's done, and then I'll show you what we can do with it afterwards. So remember, be patient. It's going to take a little while for this to happen. The command is now completed, and you'll see that the copying to disk progress has gone all the way through. It's made the disk bootable. In this case, it's really a USB flash drive, and it is fully complete and ready to go. So I'm going to switch into camera mode now to show you how you can boot from this drive and erase your system and install the operating system on your computer. So we have our USB key that is fully complete. It's got the Mojave installer loaded onto it. So now we can put it into our Mac. And we'll boot up the Mac, turn on the power button. So this can be a MacBook or an iMac. And we hold down the Option key. And once the Option key is held down, then you'll get the option to boot off of the drive. So in this case, you select the drive. In this case, I've got actually some Windows partitions on here because we have Boot Camp installed. So you click the Mojave installer. And boot from there, and then now we should be ready to work with the drive. Okay, once your system is booted up, then you will get this menu right here. And this gives you a few different options. If you just want to install Mojave over top of your existing operating system, you can click right here and click continue. If you'd like to wipe out your computer, basically put it back to factory specs, take all the information off, you'll go to disk utility, hit continue. We'll start with that. And once disk utility comes up, then you select your internal hard drive. In this case, we have this internal hard drive here, and we choose erase. And the new operating systems now require us to be in the APFS format. It used to be Mac OS X journaled, but now this is the format that you want. So you can just pick this and then choose erase. I'm not going to do that because it'll wipe out my computer right now, and I don't want to do that. But once you go through this process, just hit erase. Then you would quit disk utility. And again, this is only if you want to set your computer back to factory specs. Once the hard drive is erased, it's completely empty and you're ready to install the operating system. You're going to install Mac OS. Hit continue, and then the installer program will start itself up from the USB drive. Hit continue again, agree to the license. Choose your hard drive. This is your internal hard drive, and then you would hit continue. In this case, my drive is encrypted, so it's asking me to unlock it before we do the upgrade. And then at that point, you just step through the upgrade process. I also have another tutorial online showing how to upgrade to Mac OS Mojave. So if you'd like, you can watch that to watch the rest of the progress. I hope you find this tutorial helpful in creating a bootable USB flash drive for Mac OS Mojave, which allow you to install onto a number of computers without having to download the operating system over and over again from the internet. If you do like it, please give me a thumbs up and share it with friends over all your social media channels. And also, please subscribe to our channel. We've got lots of tutorials coming up, and you'll be able to get lots of tips and tricks. And look back in our catalog. We've got lots of great sort of information and different types of things that you can do with your Mac to make it work better. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.